All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Business Honors YouTube channel. My name is Asha, and I'm here with my senior friends today, and we are going to be sharing with you the tips and tricks that we have for all of you incoming freshmen, basically talking about everything that we wish we knew when we were coming into college as freshmen. So we're going to start off with introductions. I will start. My name is Asha, and I am a marketing concentration. It's a bit of a journey of how I got there. I started off as accounting, realized I was only doing that for the money, to be completely honest, and I was good at it, but college is a time of soul searching, and I realized that's just not what I entirely value the most. And then I found my niche in marketing, and I literally declared my very last year. So you will find your path, and I found it very late, and that's totally fine. And I've been in business honors since I was a freshman. So I'll go ahead and give the floor to Craig now.
I'm Craig. I've been in the program since freshman year. I am an accounting student. At first, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I took an accounting class. I was like, wow, I'm bad at this, but it's a lot of fun. It's mostly fun. I just did accounting, but then I had found out that I need extra units for a CPA exam that you take if you want to do public accounting later on. So in order to fulfill those units, I started getting a finance concentration as well.
Hey everyone, I'm Matthew. I've actually only been in business honors since my junior year. I'm a senior. I've only been since junior year, so I'm sort of a late bloomer. I'm finance concentration, and honestly, I knew before I entered college I wanted to do finance. So kind of a no-brainer for me.
All right, so hi, I'm Kathleen, but everyone calls me Kat. I've been in the program since sophomore year, and I'm concentrating in finance and accounting. My experience leading up to knowing what I wanted to concentrate in was literally quite the opposite of Asha's. So freshman year, I came in and I was like, oh, I would like to do management and marketing. But come sophomore year, took our first accounting class. As hard as it was, I found it super interesting, so I decided to declare in accounting and finance.
My name is Zena. I am currently a fourth year with like all of you guys. I started BH as a freshman as well, and then my concentration is in accounting. Similar as Craig, we're going to the CPA route to get the 150 units. So my goal is to get my CPA once I graduate and go into public accounting. Super fun.
What do you think has been the hardest part of college for you? And this could be anything. It doesn't have to be academics. It even like takes me a while to really think about it, like my answer, because there have been a lot of challenging things. And I almost think the most challenging thing for me throughout college hasn't really been the academics. It's more so been like finding out who I am while I am in college, because I think being in college, it's a time where you are really developing, and I lived on campus. So it was my first time completely being away from my parents and really figuring out who I was and what I wanted. And I think that has been the most challenging part, because it's been a lot of ups and downs, but also like the most beautiful part. So I'm curious, what has been the most challenging thing for you guys?
I can definitely speak to that because I feel the exact same way, where the hardest part weren't the classes. It was actually everything else. I spent a lot of my time in college focusing, like just purely on academics, purely on extracurriculars, and it didn't give me enough time to, or afford me the opportunity to really explore and enjoy college, even just taking classes that aren't part of your major. Figuring that out was the hard part. Not doing it, but figuring it out.
All right, I have some input. I feel there's perks to being in a commuter school, and this has to play with kind of like that question, is that you save so much money. Like I'm talking a lot of money from when you commute to school, and you still with BH, you get that community that you would sometimes if you're just commuting to school, you're still getting that great college experience. But I think a challenge that posed for me was growing up inside my parents' household while going to school, while dealing with all working and such. I think it was just a blend. A lot of times when you kind of move out, it's a solid line of like, you're an adult now, you're doing your own things. And I feel when you commute to school, the side is that you're kind of having those growing pains naturally kind of slowly tear apart, rather than like a clear cut chop, So I think that was probably the biggest challenge, was becoming my own adult within my parents' household.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Kind of like speaking on like the fact that Fullerton is a commuter school. So my freshman year, since I wasn't a part of the honors program, taking classes and kind of just meeting people for the most part was a little difficult, I will say. Like, especially at a community school, like everyone's just taking classes and then just kind of heading home or going to work. So, but ever since I joined the BH program, I loved meeting everyone, hearing everyone's experiences. So definitely, work hard, but also, give your time to relax and just spend time with friends, go out and meet people and just enjoy college.
Mhm.
I really struggled with like first deciding if I even wanted to work during college because I was at home, so my parents were taking care of me for most of it. So I had a lot of the same growing pains as Zena, where it's like, what do I want to take on the independence to do on my own while I'm here? Like, where do I go from kid to adult? And then when I was working, it was never like just a normal workload and work. It was you're taking extra units because I was doing the double concentration to work. And then there'd be periods where it's like, oh, I could work more. And then I'd go to school the next week and it's like, well, I have 6 projects to do. Okay, I'll sleep in a month. Like, so it was really inconsistent, and trying to like do everything like in stride, get a routine down just doesn't work sometimes, especially depending on what classes you have. Some classes are really light one period and then really heavy the next, and you never are really sure what you're going to get like in college.
Mhm. Going off of that, what is your advice for freshmen who are concerned about time management? Because the college workload is a very different workload from high school. And you're doing different things. Like in high school, everything is so set out for you. And then you go to college and it's like you have so much more freedom and liberty than you did before. So what I have done, and this I think is very specific to the type of person that you are, like I don't think Matt or Craig would ever do this, but I use planners like religiously, and I have this planner, and like each month I write out my goals, and you can see I like check stuff off. And that's my biggest advice to freshmen coming in, is not just in college, but throughout your whole life, you're going to need to have some sort of action plan at some point. And I like having action plans every day. You might not need to, that might not be your style, as I'm sure Craig and Matt would tell you. But like for me, I love that consistency. So I would say get a planner. I'm curious, Matt and Craig, and maybe Kat and Zena, I don't know, maybe not Zena, I don't know, because I feel like Zena is more like me in this sense. But how did you guys go about managing your time?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned me in the plan, because I tried recently to start using a plan, and it's like right in my desk, but I'll cross out days where I'm done with everything that day, and let me tell you, I haven't done that in a week. So
That's a mood.
my style is a bit different, and to be honest, I'm still kind of figuring it out, because when I started college, I figured the best way to do it was just plan ahead, honestly. So I had, first day after, first lectures, I would have like my Google Calendar, and I would just bring all my syllabi out and just put everything on there. But like, stuff is so flexible. Different things are always coming up. So I found that having that set calendar didn't always work out. And to be completely honest, I'm still figuring it out.
I'll go next. So Asha, I have tried your method for years. In elementary school, they had it. It's like, everybody write it down in your planner. I'll get it stamped. Like you do your homework.
Yep.
High school was pretty much the same freaking thing. They're like, everybody write it down in your
They
planner.
train you like you're a dog.
Right. So you know what happened freshman year? I started college, and they're like, all right, here's the syllabus stuff. I put everything in the planner. Everything in the planner. I get to school the next day. Half the professors were like, all right, so we changed the plan. And I'm looking at this thing that I just wrote in pen on my nice, pretty planner. And I'm like, this is going to be worthless because I will not remember which is what. So I just got rid of that. I haven't really looked back. I'm like, if it's important, I'll remember. If it's a project, just get it done early. That way you never have to worry about it.
Do you have any tips though on how you do remember everything?
Yeah, so like if I'm in class, I remember. This whole virtual thing has been rough, but luckily with BH, I've had a really good group of friends around me. I've tried to plan my classes with friends. So like Matt and I are taking a course together. And when it's like that, the odds of both of you forgetting are really low. And for me, it's just like, if I'm in class, it's like I really absorb it well. So like if they say like, oh, this is due on that date, like you're good. Since moving to virtual, I have like just gotten into the habit of like every weekend, like I know that some professors like stuff due Sunday. So like I'll hop on at Sunday morning and be like, is there anything I missed?
I really wish I had the motivation to get a planner. Like I see all of these like people decorating their planners and making it look all pretty, and I was like,
The bullet journals.
Yes.
I don't have the time.
I was like, I want to do that, and then like I'll get one, and I'll be like, maybe not. I really just stick to kind of putting everything on my calendar, like especially during syllabus week. I will make sure that I'll have every midterm that I have or any important quizzes, and then like when finals are, and I'll have that all in my calendar on my phone. And then also to kind of keep me like motivated, like throughout the week, I kind of just try to grind, and like I'll always like be like, oh, I'm gonna treat myself. I'm gonna get myself like Starbucks or something after I do this, and that.
Sorry. I would say I have a blend. I wouldn't say when it comes to scheduling, I'm a mess. That's and that's it. But I would say I have to use some sort of things. I just have so many meetings and so many things to do. And what I use is I really utilize this Outlook's calendar because I always check my email very often, and I utilize calendars because that's how I organize for meetings for school. Like for me, how my brain works is I can't study more than a week before any exam. I just can't. I always study a couple days before. So if there's an exam that week, I usually check, the weekend before, like what's going on, and then regroup from there.
What is your guys' advice on networking? Because we are business majors and networking is a huge thing. What is your guys' advice for the incoming freshmen? Because I think it's never too early to start networking.
As every person you talk to, network.
Yep.
You build bridges. You never burn bridges. Even if this girl, you don't like her from high school, goes to Cal State Fullerton, you don't burn bridges because that person
Yes.
you could be working with. You don't burn bridges. You
Never
don't
burn bridges.
call names. You build those networks. You build those connections because the end goal, and this should be everybody's mindset when going to college, unless you're just going there straightly to just enhance your learning, is why are you going to college is to get a job in the future. Also, like in classes too, those are the people that are going to be helping you when you need help. Like
that's a good point. Networking isn't just about jobs. It's also about networking with people in your classes to gain someone to study with. Matt, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was gonna say whenever I would talk to a new student about networking, the first thing they think of is like going to recruiters to talk about jobs, but we often forget we're graduating with the same people who will also have careers in the future. I mean, who knows? Maybe one day like Craig will offer me a job.
Mm-hmm.
It's these people like you don't realize that like they could help you in the future. As much as they try to keep professional and friends separate, like working with friends.
It's human nature to be
Exactly.
like, would I want to work with this person?
Exactly. So making those friends, I mean, that's an essential for success.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that also helps to get rid of the like inauthenticness of networking? Because sometimes people, and I felt this way as a freshman when I was first getting used to networking, I was like, this feels so inauthentic and like not genuine. I kind of like what you're saying, Matt. I feel like if you approach networking as almost like a friendship, like let's build a relationship, it gets rid of the inauthenticity.
My mentor, he actually interviewed me, and he was like, oh yeah, your interview is, I'm not asking about your qualifications. I already know all of your qualifications. It's literally a vibe check. Like,
No, that's literally
I
all
really
interviews.
like how you thought it is a vibe check. Explain that more, Kat. That's a really good point.
That's what he was saying. He was like, you know what, like, you have submitted your resume, your cover letter, everything. We know how smart you are, what you can do and like what you can't do, and we'll need to learn from everyone. But it's a matter of you just sitting down and being able to comfortably talk with these people and interact with them, because obviously when you're working, it's not, the relationship that you have with your coworkers isn't just solely about work. You will be put on projects together and you just need to get along. So it's a matter of you really connecting with these people and just, them being able to easily communicate with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they all nailed it and took most of my answers. So I'll give you like some tips on how to make it a little easier.
Yeah.
So if you're networking with peers, um, everybody hates it. Literally, like nobody goes and is like, I cannot wait to network. No, nobody does that. So you can actually use that as a bonding point. Be like,
I
can you believe
do.
that we're doing this?
I
Like,
love networking. I think it's so fun. I feel like I'm the black sheep in this group.
yeah,
I
yes, you
love
are.
using a planner. I love networking. Honestly, it's a
Like,
lot of it is personality.
As a freshman, you kind of get scared, like, again, like, of just not having much on your resume, and it's very hard to get internships as a freshman. However, what you can do is maybe go on to like a company that you're interested in, see if they have any workshops that you can apply to, or just like come and see. Like, that's what I did for Goldman Sachs. They have a really great one. So my advice for you is just kind of go and apply to these workshops, meet all these professionals, and network.
What are your guys' pieces of advice on all things job? Let's start like resume, right? Because that's the first step. My piece of advice for building up a resume is when you are a freshman. It's funny because I was just talking to my freshman mentee about this, and he's like, I don't have any college experience things to put. And I'm like, that's fine. Recruiters right now, if you're a freshman, they are aware that you don't have college experience yet. So keep what you have in high school and keep that on your resume, and think of your resume as like an ever-changing document that's a work in progress.
I've got a great thing I do when I change my resume. It just because, yeah, like you said, it's a living document. In the same way that when you grew up, you had pictures taken of you and you can look back and see how you grew. Whenever I change anything in my resume, I'll save that old iteration and date it so I know when I had it. And then like as I go further in my career, I can look back and see like, hey, if I wanted to pull if I wanted to like talk about what I did in this role that I like no longer on my resume, then I can go back and reference it back in my files or whatever.
So Craig is in accounting and finance, and he is working with Deloitte. What were your tips on, like, what did you do that you think made you successful for your Deloitte and your Big Four accounting firm, like for your resumes for those?
in terms of just a resume, I had a really unique internship experience in my high school. So on my resume, I highlighted a lot of things that were unique to my position. And then at the bottom, I was like, look, I know like all these things are cool. Like these are all the things I did, but down at the bottom, like these are things that I like to do. And if you mention them to me, I can talk to you about them all day. So like at the bottom of my resume, I know it says Ultimate Frisbee. And if you want to talk about Ultimate Frisbee and like how much you love throwing frisbees different ways, like I will talk about that all day, every
It's
day,
a
and I
good
love it.
networking thing too. I
Right.
like sometimes if you go to interviews and they like, oh my gosh, like I like Frisbee too. And it's a good way to like start a conversation, because these recruiters are looking at thousands and thousands of applications. So everything looks the same. Everybody can have a good GPA. What is it that makes you different? And a good piece of advice my dad told me when I was younger applying for internships, he was like, Asha, how are you going to help this company? What are you going to do for them? Because right now, that's what it is. It's an exchange. You're getting money and you're getting a leg up, and you're giving them something, which is your services that are going to help them. So I think thinking of it that way, like another thing with your resume, every time I apply to a different internship, and if I told you how many internships I applied to, you guys would be like, oh my God. But that's another thing. Don't be discouraged if you have to apply to 30 different internships before you get one phone call back. That is very, very normal. And I'm sure you all can agree, maybe not in accounting because accounting is different, but even then, like it's a very normal thing. The job market is it's tight.
Oh, girl. Yeah. Even in
Yeah.
COVID, it's like I know people that have applied to thousands of jobs and
Yeah.
haven't heard anything. Like,
Right. And
not
it's
even just,
super normal.
and that's normal. Exactly. And it's like,
Yeah.
and each person's different in the process, like you said, but like there's people that apply to hundreds and it just will be different to each person.
Yeah.
It's a numbers game.
Right. It is a numbers game. And I would say a trick that no one really talks about, have a template of your resume, take that resume and cater it to each job, use the same words that they want, really look like line by line at what they want in the job offer or in the job posting, and put that into your resume. If sometimes in honors programs, there's this idea, and I've seen it before, this very cutthroat mentality. coming out of high school, I felt that in my AP classes, there's this cutthroat competition because they're all applying to colleges and it's a race to get in. Same thing with jobs. How do you guys feel about that? Like, what advice would you give to freshmen about the mentality that you should have going in?
Be around people who bring you up, not those who bring you down.
Yeah.
We want to be around those who will. Here's something that I always look up to, which is you want to be around the people who go towards the trouble, not away from it. Follow people who have the same mentality as you.
I kind of want to go back to like the whole like vibe check thing. Just remember, let's say, you know, both you and your friend applied to this job and your friend got it instead of you. It was probably just because they didn't see you as fit, and you might, and like even if you were to work for that company, you might not find yourself as happy as you thought you would be. So never, you know, if you don't get a job that you applied for and your friend got it, be happy for them. You're going to find the one that's right for you. And also, and again, don't burn any bridges, because I've had so many friends where they didn't get that job, but the people that were interviewing them were like, hey, like, I'm so sorry, like, I wish we had a spot for you, but if you need help looking for more jobs, I can connect you with more people. And I think, you know, just stay very positive.
It's nothing personal when an internship rejects you or a job position rejects you. It's really nothing personal. And I think that's where I've seen, and I've gone through this, and I think a lot of freshmen and underclassmen go through this when you feel, I'm sure you've all reached that point where you just feel really discouraged. Like, I am not getting anything. What is wrong with me? But it is nothing personal. Going a little bit more into the freshman mentality and just advice that you guys have for them, not as students, but just as people now entering this new phase of life. I'm curious, how did all of you guys feel like your first day as a freshman? And if you guys could tell yourself one thing as a freshman, what would it be?
Don't freak out over your test grades.
Don't freak out over your test grades. That's a good one.
There's going to come a day where it feels like you're not going to be able to do it. And you're going to have to decide, like, am I just going to concede this? Am I going to take the class again? Or am I going to just like head down, keep going, not give up, and study to the best of your ability? Like, just don't give up as a freshman. It's not worth it.
So what I'm hearing is you're going to come into college and you are going to meet challenges, but I think it depends. How are you going to react to that challenge? Are you going to avoid it, or are you going to confront it? And I think all of us can say the best thing to do is confront it.
Please do college at your own pace. Like, don't ever feel the need that, oh my gosh, like everyone's taking 5 or 6 courses a semester, I need to do that too. If you feel like that's too overwhelming for you, just please take a step back, take like 3 or 4 classes, whatever you need to do so that you're satisfied with the grades that you're getting and like the work that you're putting into it. Because, you know, you don't want to kind of like spread your time like too thinly, and then you're like, I wish like I could have done better in this, but I didn't have enough time. We all started as freshmen. Like, I was thinking I was going to do marketing management. Asha was thinking accounting. But look at where we're at now, like about to graduate and we're on completely different tracks.
And we're so happy about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's okay. Like, I think like if you come in with a plan, always keep that in the back of your mind as kind of like your goal setter to keep you motivated to keep going. But please don't push away any opportunities just because they don't fall in line with the plan that you already have.
Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. I've learned that no matter how much you try to plan something, life is going to take its course. And I think if you can go about it with like this mindset of like, just like what Kat is saying, whatever is, it is what it is, you know?
Working with people who, again, bring you up, who don't bring you down, who inspire you to be better, is probably the best policy. It's a very generic like piece of advice, but I cannot possibly understate the impact. A
lot of college, like I said, and just life, but especially right now, because you are you're in your early 20s, you develop so much during this time. You are going to go through ups and downs, and I can sit here and say every single one of us on this chat, that's the beautiful thing too about friendship, right? Is like you see the ups and downs that everybody goes through. And the very last thing that I want to talk about in this video is, what advice do you guys have for freshmen who are about seeking out meaningful relationships, because I think the best part about college and life is relationships. So I don't know, Kat, you know, you're in a few different organizations. Like, how has that impacted you and you finding good relationships?
Well, I think like the first thing that you should do is just always be yourself, be super genuine. Like Asha said before, sometimes networking can kind of just feel superficial. But if you just come in, just be yourself, you will meet those people that you will find like the most genuine connections with. And like you really look at them and think like, oh my gosh, like these people are going to be my bridesmaids one day. Like you just become so close to them. And being in the business honors program, like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait until like we're all in like our mid-20s and just still talking to each other and like, oh my gosh, like how's work been? But yes, being a part of an organization, you know, you get to meet a lot of different people. And I kind of want to go back to like the whole networking thing and kind of saying like, you know, just because we're business students doesn't mean that you should only network with people that are in your major.
Yes.
Please just, you know, network with everyone. Just be comfortable in your own skin, just going up to someone being like, hey, like I have some questions, can I ask you? And trust me, I formed many friendships just doing that.
Just ask yourself, if you wanna be better, then, you know, do you want to be on the sidelines? I think that's another thing about just figuring out whether, you know, asking yourself those hard questions.
So there's going to be times when you don't want to pursue like extra relationships and like try and build those bonds, and that is okay. There's time where you can like reflect on yourself and take care of yourself. You don't have to be like, I need to go be friends with everybody, because you will run yourself into the ground. And a lot of the times when you're just taking care of yourself, you're going to find random friendships that mean the most. And like you can tell they mean a lot to you when you say something random, and like it just fills you with joy. Like if I say wings, I bet it makes Kat smile, because we would always go and get wings rather than freak out about classes. It's just like, ooh, I'm studying real hard. She's studying real hard. It's like wings, and all of a sudden everything is good, right? Like, so you're gonna find relationships when you don't expect it, and they're gonna mean a lot more when you're not like forcing them down your own throat.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us with this video. We hope that it helped. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube page, and we are going to go ahead and put our social media links in the bio in case you want to message us. But if you do have primary questions about business honors, check out the email that we're going to link down below. That'll be like your go-to place for questions. We're also going to leave our website down below. So make sure you check all things business honors, and we will see you next time. Bye.